Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out the new iPhone 17 Pro. I've got the blue one. It's a 256 gig model, a bit smaller than I'd like, but it was the only one I could get at the time. I've used it for about 30 days and I'm going to go through it with you and tell you what I think and see if I'll be sticking with the new iPhone or moving back to my Galaxy S25 Ultra. Keep watching. Firstly, what is a Pro phone these days? I mean, a lot of companies call things Pro and Ultra, but ultimately, what are they trying to achieve by doing that? I think this is probably the first time that somebody's taken the decision to do function over form and actually really create something that is technically Pro. It you can see from the thickness of it, the two-tone style, the big bump at the top, that they've actually thought about the internals rather than the externals. So it's interesting to see a company actually look at something and say, oh, that is Pro, and then give it that feeling of it being Pro. I think if you look at the iPhone Air, for instance, that is now the style, the function over, the form over function device that Apple now make. So I think for the first time in a long time, I would say that this is a Pro device. You have options if you now want a better looking device without having just the standard device. But it's really interesting to see that all of the things that used to be called Pro are now on all of the iPhone 17 lineup. So the standard 17 and the Air and the Pro and the Pro Max all get the same screen, for instance. They all get the same refresh rate. They all get the same brightness. They've all got the same telephoto cameras. I think the Pros are a little bit better because of internals and sensors and things, but ultimately they're all very much the same. So what does make it Pro? Why is it thicker? Why is it heavier? Why is it now made of aluminium and not titanium? You know, the big material that Apple were pushing for the last 2-3 years. And I think it comes down to performance, and that's what Pro devices should have. You know, it's going to be faster for longer. It's going to keep heat down to a minimum because of its new vapor chamber that's inside, and it's going to dissipate that heat better through the aluminium body. So I think actually, you know, it's not so much now about the features and the functions of the device. It's more about how it's going to be used and the capability of the device. So being able to record at 4K 120 for a long period of time because they've thought about thermals. It's a significant leap forward on last year's phone from that perspective, but not really significant when it comes to everything else about the phone. So that's my initial thought around Pro versus Air versus 17. So you decide, you know, if you want something that you're going to be filming people on all day, every day, and taking a lot of photos, then this is probably the one. But if you want something thinner, a bit more stylish, with a bigger screen, then the Air is probably for you. But I would say the best phone bang for buck that you'll get this year is the standard iPhone 17. I'm not quite sure how they do it, but they managed to pack real quality sound experience into every device, and I think it's the one thing that Apple really still leads the pack on across all of the mobile phone providers. I think if you wanted to listen to, if you're that way inclined, music through a phone, or if you wanted to watch a film and use the audio from the phone, I still think Apple are the best. I prefer people not to do that, especially if you're sitting on a train. You know, put some AirPods in, enjoy yourself. I don't have to listen to it, and I wouldn't do that to others. But if you were sat at home and you were, you know, just watching it, then I don't think there's a better experience out there. So, well done, Apple. I'm sure Tim is very disappointed in whoever decided to put the single speaker in the iPhone Air, because that has significantly reduced its appeal to me, in all honesty. But then again, you know, as I've just said, I don't use it that often, and I don't play music that often from my phone. But if I do, it's great. Performance. The performance of this phone is second to none at the moment. I think for a lot of tasks, I think the A19 chip is phenomenal, but it's an iterative upgrade over last year. It was phenomenal last year in the 18 and the 17 and whatever else. And I think that having a few extra kind of GPU cores and a few AI cores or neural cores or whatever they call them I think it helps, and if you're going to play a lot of games on this, specifically with the cooling technology and the vapor chamber, I think you're on for a great experience of gaming. I've played a little bit of Genshin Impact on it and a bit of Call of Duty Mobile, and it flies. It does everything you'd want. Whether you'd need a bigger screen to actually enjoy that as much, and I do the same on my S25 Ultra, and I've tried those games on there, and they do feel a little bit more engrossing. So maybe if you are that way inclined, go for the Pro Max rather than just the Pro. But it's a wonderful experience either way. From a gaming perspective, I've not really experienced anything in terms of kind of slowdown or heat. It is October, November here in the UK, so I haven't got to worry about it getting too hot anywhere at the moment. So maybe next year, middle of summer, we'll see how well the vapor chamber and the new aluminium body work. But on the whole, it's everything you've come to expect from an Apple phone. It is fast, slick, and it will just continue to do so for a long period of time up until probably about 2 or 3 years in, when the iOS updates are probably at 29, 30. You'll probably start to feel it slow down then, but right now and for the next 2 years, I'm sure it'll still remain a very positive experience for anybody that uses it on a day-to-day basis. The cameras. All of the cameras this year are 48 megapixel. That's the main, the ultra wide, and the telephoto. The telephoto has a 4 times optical zoom, but with improvements to the sensor, you can actually crop that into an 8 times zoom, and it looks really good. The overall experience has been great. Still have a problem with kind of nighttime shots with it. They're not as good as some of the competitors out there at the moment still. But daytime, you'll really struggle to find a better day-to-day experience. Now, I'm sure you could look at some of the Vivos or the Xiaomis of the world, but from a day-to-day ease of use, speed of use, and not being a pro photographer, I think they're still one of the best out there. Everybody's catching up, and some people have overtaken when it comes to photography. But when it comes to video, I still think the iPhone is the best at being able to shoot 4K 120 in ProRes and is it ProRes RAW? I think they call it, and maybe a different name, and I'll put it up on the screen if they get to. Oh, Apple Log 2, that was it for a profile. Then you can take some real good cinematic footage, colour grade it yourself, and you'll struggle to find a better phone out there for that, in my opinion. Excuse me, in my opinion. Certainly comparing it to the other flagship from Samsung, it blows it out of the water from a video perspective. I've tried. I had the S25 Ultra for 6 months, and I really struggled to make that video experience be anywhere near as good as the experience I've had for the month I've had the iPhone. I will put some pictures up that you can look at. I'm not a professional photographer, and I will do a bit more of an in-depth review of photos if you'd like to see that, and a bit more on the camera. So if that's something you're interested in, please hit the like button, hit subscribe, and leave me a comment to let me know. Battery life. I don't know what people want anymore from their battery. I hear a lot of people talk about 2 days, 3 days. I want a really big battery. I want it to last. I think the sweet spot for any phone is just lasting a full day, and I think most people would be accepting of that. Most people put it on at charge when they go to bed, and most people take it off charge when they get up in the morning. And this phone is great for that. It lasts, and I normally have about 30% at the end of the day if I just use it for kind of general mixed use, email, photos, video, music, listening to, a bit of media consumption. I have never had a problem in the month I've had it. If you are getting to a kind of lower percentage than that, good luck to you. You must be using it a lot harder than I am, but I don't think it will be a problem for the average person. From a charging perspective, it's got wireless charging and obviously USB-C charging. The wireless charging is slightly better this year in the Pro. I think it's up to 25 watts, and the wired charging is 40 watts. I think they're claiming that you can do 50% of the battery in 20 minutes, which is okay. It's not going to set the world alight. A lot of other people out there at the moment are, really aiming at that 100-watt charging and 20 minutes to 80% type target. So they're way behind. But again, Does it really impact me on a day-to-day? No. Would it make me feel a little bit more comfortable if I could charge it a little bit faster? Probably, but I haven't found it being a problem for the month. So one of the things I won't talk about for a long period of time is software and ecosystem. iOS 26, it's been plagued with a few bugs. The AI is still not brilliant, but the one thing that you can always say about Apple is the interoperability between its own kind of devices, being able to share files, videos, photos, be able to use the camera from my phone for my MacBook, all of those things that make the Apple ecosystem a thing that people talk about are still fantastic, even with iOS's flaws. I think if you're already in that ecosystem, then obviously you know about it. If you're not and you're sitting Android, as an Android user as well as an iOS user, I think there's a lot of things I'm envious about within the iOS and iPad OS and Mac OS sphere. The simplicity, the usability, they're all fantastic things. And I think I would miss some of those if I went back to my Galaxy S25 Ultra. The interaction between my phone, music, headphones, my MacBook, taking photos and having them everywhere, and if I want to take a video and then put it onto my Mac using AirDrop, they're just things that you start to really use regularly, and I'm pretty confident that's why most people never migrate away once they're in that ecosystem. So it's, in summary, it's like any other Apple update. It's had a few bugs, but it just works. And so far, the experience of liquid glass and all of the other things, it's not really changed my life. The look and feel is very, very still Apple iPhone, and that's about all I can say about it, really. If you've watching this video and you never use an iPhone, then you won't know what I'm talking about, but I'm sure 99% of the people watching have used one or used an iPad, and you'll get exactly what I mean in terms of it's just the same, just a little bit different looking. So, would I recommend you get the iPhone 17 Pro? I think, and this is such a reviewer type response, but it depends where you are with your iPhone. If you're on a 13, 14, absolutely. I think it's worth the upgrade. I think the speed, the performance changes, the screen brightness, and just the general feel. It's a lot less sharp than some of those earlier Pro phones. Yes, I would do it. If I'm on a 15, 16, I'd find it a bit more of a struggle, especially for over £1,000 just for the entry-level model. Would I switch from Android to iOS? Well, I have for a month, and I'm not quite sure yet whether I'm going to move back to my Samsung S25 Ultra. I do miss the screen. I do the size of it, but I don't miss the size of that phone in my pocket and not being able to sit down without a bit of a jab in my middle-aged tummy. So I'm going to persevere for another month, see if I enjoy it. I've got a 1-year-old at the moment as well, so taking photos on the iPhone has been a far more pleasant experience, being able to handle the phone one-handed comfortably while holding her or trying to hold a toy and make her smile while I take a photograph. So that has been a nice experience that I've thoroughly enjoyed. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see after 30 days. Maybe I'll do another video comparing the two, and I can let everybody know out there. And that's it. That's my 10-minute review of the last 30 days. Hopefully it's been insightful. I will keep using it for another 30 days. I think, like as I've just been saying, that the camera makes that experience worthwhile alone, just for the photographs of my young one. But what about you? What do you think? Have you started to use the iPhone 17 Pro? Are you an Android user that would never move to iOS or Apple? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Also, let me know what you'd like me to talk about next. What kind of device, or whether you'd like a further detailed review of the iPhone, or whether you'd like a review of the S25 after almost a year, or anything. Let me know, and I'll get a video made. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next one.